Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know what to say tonight. How was this a go-home show for their biggest show of the year in Wrestlemania? Someone, please fucking explain how this show tonight was supposed to get anybody excited for what's to come on Sunday. I don't think there was anything on this show that legitimately got me even remotely excited for what's going to happen on Sunday, including the triple threat match for the women's title. And we'll get into that segment when we get there, because that was just fucking, my god. And it saddens me that what I record on only gives me an hour to record in one video, because I feel like this show would take me over an hour if I wanted to get my full thoughts out. But unfortunately, I'm only delegated to 1 hour, so I'll try not to waste too much time, and we'll try to get right into this. And instead of seeing some 2K19 gameplay in the background, which you normally see, figured I'd change it up, and I put some Call of Duty gameplay in the background, just because 2K19, I don't know, I just didn't feel like popping it in, recording shit, and I already had some Call of Duty stuff recorded. And but I will be releasing a new 2K19 video soon with a Wrestlemania arena for people to download on Community Creations, because I do enjoy creating arenas, as you would know. But yeah, I figured I'd change it up a little bit and put something different in the background. But yeah, hopefully the future video won't disappoint that I'll be posting later on this week, as well as I'll be trying to post a video hopefully every day leading up to Mania. It's because I've been slacking lately, and it's been going through some personal stuff, a little unmotivated recently, but I'm trying to get back on pace here. And yeah, so let's not waste any more time. And no, Siri, I didn't tell you to start talking. Fucking piece of shit. Anyway, let's get into Monday Night Raw. It wasn't even on for 2 seconds before we had to hear Stephanie McMahon's music hit, and already I'm just uninterested. And yeah, I know, and by the way, WWE played the biggest April Fool's joke, because on their social media platforms, they were talking about tonight's going to be a good show, and boy did they fool us, because tonight's show was god-awful. Anyway, let's get into it. Like I said, so Stephanie's music hits, and like I said, I'm already uninterested, even though I know that she has a big announcement coming. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all knew what was coming. She pretty much just announces that all the titles for the triple threat women's title match will be on the line, which is good, but at the same time, she didn't say it was a unification match, which the women's division needs, because there's no way with this depleted roster on both sides, or on both shows, that you can have 2 singles titles. It's just stupid. There's nobody on SmackDown to challenge for the SmackDown women's title that's believable right now. And as far as Raw goes, I mean, between the 2 shows, it's just the same. It's the same women that really are believable, and that's Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, and in my opinion too, Asuka. But we all saw how she was treated on SmackDown last week, when she had a great match with Charlotte, but in the end, she was fed to Charlotte just to get the belt on Charlotte, just so we could put both titles on the line. But if this isn't a unification match and they do split the titles up again, then I don't understand what the point of putting it on Charlotte was. There'd be absolutely no point if this isn't a full-fledged unification match. That's just my opinion. If you guys agree with me, so be it. If you don't, also so be it. Anyway, so we got through that. Next we're on to Lesnar. He comes out pretty much right after Stephanie makes her announcement. Comes out with Heyman. Honestly, they came out to a pretty shitty response. I mean, there was, and I don't mean by like boos, I mean just like nobody really reacted. Like, his music hit, and it's like nobody even cared. I certainly didn't care. Brock Lesnar doesn't excite me, nor does Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman's usually great on the mic, but the same shtick with Brock Lesnar is really getting fucking boring at this point. And I just, I kind of wish Heyman would just move on to somebody else, or I don't know, just maybe stay off of TV for a while. I don't know what it is, but these guys do nothing for me, and this whole feud with Rollins does nothing for me either. Anyway, let's see, what do I have written here? Oh, and during Lesnar's entrance, they kept saying, hey, Lesnar's taking on Rollins at WrestleMania, blah, 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 and I swear to God, throughout the whole night, they kept saying, and I don't know why this is bothering me, probably, I guess it's because I'm from Jersey, but they just kept saying WrestleMania in the shadow of New York. And I don't understand why they can't just say it's in New Jersey. That's where the fuck it is. It's not in New York. It's not in the shadow of New York. I don't want to hear this bullshit. It's in fucking New Jersey. TakeOver and the Hall of Fame and the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania are all going to be in New York. But WrestleMania itself is in New Jersey. I don't know why they can't just say it's in New Jersey. It's like they're fucking ashamed to say it's in New Jersey. But they'll say it's in every other town or city. You know, when it's in fucking Tampa, are they going to say it's in the shadow of Miami? Fuck no. It's fucking stupid. If you want it to be in New York so bad, or you want to say, you know, obviously that's like their main thing, then fucking wait until one year when the Yankees and the Mets, or whichever team, is on a long road trip for a week, and you go fucking have WrestleMania in Yankee Stadium or Citi Field or something. Otherwise, shut the fuck up about this shadow of New York shit and just say New Jersey. Seriously. Anyway, Heyman cuts his, his usual promo. Nothing really great, honestly. It didn't hype me up at all. I'm not even gonna go over what he said because I don't even fucking remember. I didn't take notes on it or anything. And like I said, I'm trying to get through this review in under an hour. Anyway, Rollins comes out, interrupts, like expected. He says nothing new either. It's the same shit that they've been saying for fucking weeks now. It's the same formulaic promo. It's like with every person. It's the same damn promo format. And honestly, it's just tiring. This is why I love Samoa Joe so much when it comes to his promos. They're unique, and they're just fantastic. Everybody else just feels like they're the same, just with different opponents and different voices. It's fucking stupid. It doesn't get anybody hyped up. Nobody feels any more different from the other when they're cutting promos. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so Rollins says what he says about he's going to take Lesnar's belt, blah, blah, blah. Lesnar pretty much just laughs it off and goes to walk out of the ring and kind of like shoulder shoves Rollins. And then Rollins turns him around, kicks him in the nuts. Then he goes for, I don't know what the fuck he was going for. And then he got German suplexed. And then he gets picked up for an F5. He gets out of that, low blows Lesnar again. And then he super kicks him, and then he hits a curb stomp, and then he holds the belt up. Blah, blah, blah. The thing I didn't like anything about this segment at all. I thought it was lame. And the thing I didn't like about it the most is the fact that Rollins had to use 2 low blows to even get Lesnar down, which he won't be able to do on Sunday. And I'm really glad that when they came back from commercial break, they had a backstage promo with Rollins, and they touched up on it about how he can't use low blows because it's not a no DQ match at WrestleMania. It's just a regular standard match. And so this didn't make Rollins look good at all. It made him look cheap. It made him look, just not credible. He didn't look credible at all. He had to use 2 low blows to even get Lesnar down, and it still looked like he wouldn't have gotten a 3 count if that was a match. So, I don't know what the point of this segment was. It didn't get anybody excited to make Rollins look weak. I'm just glad that they actually touched up on it after the break that he can't use low blows at Mania, because I thought for sure that they weren't going to bring this up. I thought I was going to be the only one that was going to say anything, but they did at least touch up on it. But it is what it is, man. This did absolutely nothing for me. And like I said, he can't use low blows at Mania, so what's he going to do then? Last time he tried to step up to Lesnar without using low blows, he got F5 6 fucking times. So I don't see what this segment did, and I honestly don't see Seth Rollins winning at WrestleMania either. I definitely see Brock Lesnar walking away, still the Universal Champion. And even though this match doesn't excite me, it's still a shame that Rollins is probably not going to win, because Raw has been without a world champion basically since it was created. You had Finn Balor hold it for a day. You had Owens hold it just to ultimately drop it to Goldberg at a shitty B-level pay-per-view named Fastlane, just to have it go on Lesnar for a fucking over a year, just to have him lose it to Roman Reigns in a nauseating way, just for Roman Reigns to relinquish it because of leukemia, just to give it back to Lesnar. For what? So we've had the Universal title now for going on 3 years, and it's been on Raw for maybe like 7 months. Cool. Anyway, up next, we have a 8-woman tag team match, which is just god-awful booking. This is just lazy creative at its finest, as usual. You just take the Fatal 4-Way that's happening at Mania, you take the 2 teams that are baby faces and the 2 teams that are heels, you put them together, and you make a tag team match for Raw, and it's just stupid. They do this every single time. Every single time there's some kind of multi-man match or multi-woman match at a pay-per-view, they take all of them and put them in a fucking 6-man or a 6-woman or an 8-man or an 8-woman or whatever have you, or a fucking gauntlet match right before the pay-per-view. I don't understand this. It's seriously lame. They do it every single fucking week and nobody wants to see it. So we had the team of Beth and Natalya teaming with Sasha and Bayley, and no, I'm not going to say their tag team name because it's just fucking cringe, against the Iconics and Jackson Tamina, which I don't even know if they have a tag team name. Do they even have a name? Who cares? They're fucking terrible too. It's nice to see Beth Phoenix back in the ring. I've actually kind of always wanted her to make a return. I was a big fan of hers back in the days when she was wrestling, even though that was the dark days of women's wrestling, but she was one of the legit wrestlers on the roster at the time, her and a few others, but like her, Mickie James, and I can't even think of the others at the moment. Michelle McCool was okay, but yeah, Beth Phoenix was definitely one of the more legit. She was probably the most legit at the time, and it's nice to see her back. I mean, they brought her back in a way that I personally am not really all that interested in with this whole Fatal 4-Way tag match. I'd rather see her come back in a singles role and maybe have one more run, maybe get another title run, and then put it up for good. Because I kind of felt like she retired a bit young and early. I feel like there was a lot more, especially in today's wrestling, with with the women, what they're doing today, would be fantastic. And she proved tonight that she can still go. She might be a little rusty, but I mean that's to be expected after not wrestling for 7 fucking years. As far as this women's tag team title match at WrestleMania, I mean, they really dropped the ball with it, man. They should have they could have had Bayley and Sasha versus Lita and Trish, which really would have been a moment for the fans. It would have been a cool passing of the torch, and it would have got a much bigger reaction than what we're getting. I mean, we got Beth Phoenix, and that's about all that's exciting about it. And then you got fucking Natalya, who's boring. She's like watching paint dry as far as her personality. And you got the fucking Iconics, who are cringe and terrible in the ring as well. And then you got Tamina and Nia Jax, who Tamina, I don't even know why she's employed, because she is just... She's got to be the worst female on the roster next to Dana Brooke. And that's not an exaggeration. I'd rather see fucking Lana in the ring. At least Lana is something to look at. Tamina is just all around just awful. She's nothing to look at. She's terrible in the ring. Her entrance is boring. Her music is boring. She has no moveset, and her finisher, she can't even do right. She looks sloppy as hell when she does it. Jimmy Snuka would be... It's just not... you know what? Tamina is no longer being talked about on this review, because she is just god-awful. I don't even want to get into it. Anyway, this match was boring. There was one spot, besides the Iconics botching a few things, there was one spot where Beth does the typical spear into the barricade, and she does it on Tamina. Unfortunately, I have to bring her up right there, because that's what she didn't move on. So she spears Tamina through the barricade. The Iconics try to take advantage and throw Beth Phoenix in the ring and get a cheap win, but she pretty much fights him off and delivers a glam slam on Peyton Royce for the win. And while the Iconics are cringe, and I think they're terrible, at least Peyton Royce sold the glam slam. Unlike, I don't know if you guys saw it last week, but when Tamina took the glam slam, it looked god-awful. I haven't seen anybody else mention it, but it looked so sloppy, and it was just... And I understand that she's a bigger woman, but still. It was the way she sold it was just fucking terrible. So, Beth Phoenix and Natalya and Bayley and Sasha win. Who cares? Not interested in it. Not interested in the match at Mania. Don't even know why it's on the card. Hopefully it's on the pre-show, which I doubt. Anyway, moving on. We had an SUV pull up, and I already knew who was coming out of it. I knew it was going to be Batista, and that's who it was. We go to commercial break from that. We come back. We get the announcement of what the theme song is for WrestleMania, which is just terrible. The theme songs for main roster pay-per-views mostly, especially Mania and like the other big pay-per-views like SummerSlam are just terrible. This music does not go with wrestling at all. It really doesn't. I'm sorry. You can think differently and that's fine, but in my opinion it doesn't go well at all. The NXT songs, on the other hand, usually go pretty damn well with wrestling. I mean, even the song that they chose for this takeover, which is some song by Billie Eilish, which I don't really listen to that music, but at least the song is not that bad. Anyway, enough talking about music. We're here to talk about wrestling. Batista comes out, and speaking of music, it's nice to hear Batista's theme song playing over the PA system again, because in my opinion, he has one of the best theme songs of all time. I think his theme song is fucking badass, especially for an entrance song, especially with the machine gun entrance he used to do. It was just fantastic. Even the Spotlight entrance was great. Just his theme song overall was just fantastic, and his entrance was never boring, which honestly is a big part of a wrestling character. If you had a shitty entrance, then good luck trying to really get over. Anyway, what happened here? He gets in the ring, and they start chanting "Welcome back," and they start chanting his name. Kind of sits there for about a minute or two, and then he just points at the Titantron, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So we get a little video package, pretty much highlighting Batista's earlier career against Triple H, where he just pretty much wrecks him in every match they ever had. And honestly, I hope that's the outcome at Mania. I hope Batista wins, because I think it's time for Triple H kind of to hang it up. His matches, as of late, have not been entertaining. The whole Brothers of Destruction DX thing was pretty lame. His match against Rollins was kind of a letdown. His match last year was I mean, the only reason it was good is because it was Ronda Rousey's debut match, and she kind of shined. And otherwise, I mean, there's no other match for Triple H to be in that interests me at all, aside from the one that we're going to see this year against Batista. Otherwise, there's really nobody else for him to feud with that I want to see. So I kind of hope Batista wins and retires Triple H, and then Batista can have maybe one last run. Depending on how well he does at Mania will determine if I actually want to see that. But he said he wants to have one last run, so I don't know why they can't give it to him. As long as his schedule can match up and he can do it, let the guy fucking do it. If he wants to do one more run, what's the big deal about letting him do one more run? And Triple H, like I said, he got injured last time in his last match. He's getting older. He needs to hang it up and just focus on NXT. We don't need to see him in the ring anymore. We've had our time with Triple H, and let us just cherish those memories. We don't need another guy wrestling longer than he needs to, pretty much diminishing his earlier career. We've seen enough of it with, The Undertaker and fucking Kurt Angle, and then we had Shawn Michaels come out of retirement for no reason. We don't need to see this shit anymore. Ric Flair wrestling until he's fucking 60. We don't need to see it anymore. Start building up these young guys to carry the show, and you won't need people like Triple H to wrestle every damn year at WrestleMania. It's not necessary. Anyway, so the video package stops playing, and then Batista just says, "Hunter, kiss my ass," and that was that. He leaves the ring, and that's truly all that was needed. There was nothing else that was needed for him. His past accomplishments against Triple H is really all that he needs in his argument against Triple H. He's beaten him every single time they fought, and there's nothing else for him to prove. So, that's that. I know some people think Batista is the heel going into this, but I don't personally see it that way at all. I mean, he's been getting pretty decent reactions, especially tonight being in his hometown. And then at the end of this, as he's walking up the ramp, he's slapping the hands of fans, and he's on the stage and he takes a bow and he's getting a nice round of applause. So I don't really see him as the heel. I don't really see either one of them as a heel. I just kind of see it as a grudge match between two guys who have a long history with each other, and that's that. I hope the match is good, and it still has my interest, and thank God for that, because not many matches on this card do. Believe me, I think maybe 3 have my interest at all. So we'll see what happens. I just hope the match doesn't disappoint, and with the stipulation added, the gimmicky bullshit that they always got on, it shouldn't disappoint. I'm pretty sure these guys will give us something to be entertained by, and hopefully Batista goes over, but we'll see what happens on Sunday. Moving on here, we get more of the same with Elias that we got last week. Only instead of doing it fucking 4 times in one night, they only did it this one time. He's pretty much right outside of, I guess he was outside of MetLife Stadium. I don't know exactly where the hell he was. I seen the MetLife thing in the background, so I'm assuming that's where he was. He's performing, or he's performing for us over there. And by the way, he's on the streets of New Jersey, not the fucking shadow of New York. And let me just reiterate this for fucking WWE, who just seems to be obsessed with only mentioning New York City, like as if New Jersey doesn't exist. Fuck out of here, man. Anyway, he's there saying nobody's gonna interrupt him at Mania, blah blah blah. And we all know that's a fucking lie. He'll be interrupted, probably more than once, and he'll probably get interrupted by legends, is what I'm assuming. I don't think anybody's gonna come out that's a current superstar or a current full-timer that's gonna interrupt him. There's talk of the Undertaker interrupting him, and I don't know if I personally see that happening, but it does kind of make sense somewhat, because last year we were getting the Cena versus Undertaker thing, and Cena's waiting in the ring, the lights went out, and then Elias came out. And everybody thought it was the Undertaker at first. Eventually we did get the Undertaker, but Elias came out first, got squashed by Cena, so I can see Undertaker interrupting Elias. Is this something I personally want to see? I mean, I do want to see the Undertaker at Mania just because I'll be there, but I don't know if I want to see it in this particular segment. And there's people talking about John Cena interrupting him, but from what I'm hearing, John Cena has a match that's being held top secret. I don't know why. Unless he's Kurt Angle's opponent, then I don't care if Cena's there or not. I mean, will him being there add anything to WrestleMania? Probably not. But unless it's against Kurt Angle. Otherwise, there's no point for... Who else is he going to go against? There's nobody else that's going to interest anybody. If he goes against Elias, what's going to happen? He's going to get fucking demolished? Or he's going to demolish Elias with the lightning punch of all things? There's also talks about possibly The Rock interrupting Elias, which I would personally love to see. I've been waiting to see that since fucking Elias has been doing this whole shtick. Since that's what The Rock used to do. He used to do those rock concerts, so... It's the only one that personally makes any fucking sense. So we'll see what happens with that. Am I interested in it? Not really, but I do like seeing surprise appearances from people. So we'll see what happens with that. So moving on from that, we get a match that everyone has been asking for years. I mean, probably at least 3 years. People have been clamoring for this all over social media. Yeah, that's right. You heard it here. We're going to get Jinder Mahal versus Apollo Crews in a lumberjack match, I might add. Let's remember that this show tonight was the go-home show for Monday Night Raw for WrestleMania. And we're getting Jinder Mahal versus Apollo Crews in a lumberjack match with a bunch of catering people on the outside of the ring. Some notable people out there, or one notable person, was EC3, standing there doing what he does best, standing still and not talking. I'm surprised he wasn't sitting there doing his fucking little, 3 fingers across the chest bullshit. Awful. Why are we getting this on the road to... Not even the road to WrestleMania, because we've gotten it already, but why are we getting it on the go-home show? It's the last show before Mania. Nothing on the show should be anything of irrelevance like this. It should be nothing but relevant storylines that everybody's interested in, and instead we're getting fucking Jinder fucking Mahal against Apollo Crews in a lumberjack match. For what reason, I don't know. This match ended in 2 fucking minutes with a frog splash on Jinder Mahal from Apollo Crews. Crews wins. This then turns into a fucking brawl in the middle of the ring because the Battle Royal's coming up, so we gotta do this, the proverbial fucking everybody battles in the ring type bullshit, like as if anybody's ever hyped up for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Who the fuck has ever been interested in that match? The only time I was interested in that match was the first year it was done, and they fucking completely disgraced it, and it's been uninteresting ever since. So, who cares? Why this match is even still happening is just to get people on the card, and that's it. Not everybody deserves to be on the WrestleMania card. If you've been irrelevant all year since the last WrestleMania, then you don't belong on the show. It's supposed to be the biggest show of the year. You're going to take a team in the NFL that's fucking 2-14 and showcase them on the Super Bowl? Fuck no, because they didn't deserve it. and neither does everybody else in this Battle Royal, aside from the Hardy Boys and Andrade Cien Almas, who are sadly in this fucking Battle Royal. That's just sad. You gonna tell me you couldn't put the Usos versus the Hardys at WrestleMania? That would have been a fantastic match if they would have built towards it. Brothers versus brothers. Don't know why that's not happening, especially with Matt Hardy looking like he's in the best shape he's been in a long time. Jeff Hardy's great. The Usos are fantastic. Probably the best tag team in the whole fucking world. And they're probably going to be on the pre-show. All of them. And Almas having this whole feud with Rey Mysterio that everybody was going crazy over the great matches they were having, and he's going to be in this Battle Royal too. Then all of them are just ultimately going to be fed to fucking Braun Strowman feuding with these fucking Saturday Night Live goons, which I don't even know if I'm going to go over that segment when it comes up because nobody cares. It just wasted TV time tonight was unreal. Absolutely unreal. Anyway, I don't know what the whole point of this fucking thing was. Apollo Crews winds up clearing out the ring after he wins the match too, like, as if he's going to win the Battle Royal. Fuck out of here, dude. You ain't winning shit. You'll probably be eliminated third from last. Next, we get Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's been a big topic in the wrestling world lately, especially with his last match ever coming at WrestleMania against, again, Baron Bor. Basically, it's Baron Corbin. The guy is fucking boring, and if you watch the main event tonight, the crowd let us know as well, because they were chanting boring. So, anyway, we got Kurt Angle come out, and thinking back on it, it's pretty fucking crazy that it's been 20 years since Kurt Angle debuted, basically. I mean, yeah, it was in November of 99, but it's basically been about 20 years. Regardless, it feels like kind of was just like the other year, man. Kind of makes me feel old, you know. I remember seeing Kurt Angle's debut right there live. Well, I wasn't there live, but I mean watching it on TV back in 99. I believe it was Survivor Series. He made his debut. And, yeah, so he comes out. Pretty much thanks to fans for all the years, all the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads. We get a little video package playing on the Titantron. Fantastic package. Pretty much highlighting Kurt Angle's entire career. From the beginnings all the way towards the end, the highs and lows. It was fantastically put together. Whoever put it together, props to them. And it reminds us how good Kurt Angle was. And, you know, I mean, I know he's not good anymore in the ring like he used to be, but it reminds us just how damn good he was and just how much of a travesty it is that he's getting put in a match with Baron Corbin at WrestleMania as his last match ever. After the classic moments and matches he's given us, this is what he's getting on his way out. It's pretty ridiculous, especially with the rumor that he's hurt right now, and that's pretty much why his match with Mysterio didn't happen tonight, and it's pretty much why his match with AJ Styles was cut short on SmackDown last week. But yeah, this package showed us that Kurt Angle really truly was something special in this business. And if you don't think so, then you're a fucking fool. And for any true wrestling fan, you know, watching this video package brought back a lot of memories, and it was an emotional moment. You know, you see Kurt Angle in there, he's getting emotional. And also during this video package, I might add, I wrote down right here, we all knew that Cena's first match was against Angle. What I actually kind of forgot, which even though it was just last year, John Cena was also the one that inducted Kurt Angle into the Hall of Fame. So the fact that it's probably not going to be John Cena versus Kurt Angle at Mania, unless they somehow change it up last moment on Sunday, it's just absolutely, it's disgusting. It really is. Their history together, I mean, nobody else makes sense. I mean, there's a few other guys that could have filled this role, but Baron Corbin is the least, the last person I would ever put in this match with Kurt Angle. He makes no sense. I don't give a fuck about the whole general manager thing and him making Kurt Angle's life a living hell or whatever you want to call it. It still doesn't make any sense because nobody cares about Baron fucking Corbin, dude. Nobody cares about this guy. He's just so boring. I mean, he has a cool entrance and it looks all cool, and then he comes out looking like, you know, a hostess from Olive Garden. Nothing goes right with this guy, and I'll get into that later when we get to the main event. But seriously, I still can't believe that they're, as far as I know, going ahead with this Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin match at WrestleMania. It's fucking sickening. And it seriously fucking pisses me off. Anyway, The only thing I can see maybe possibly is what I hope to see at Mania real quick is if Cena comes out during Corbin's entrance and just fucking attacks him, or attacks him backstage and then comes out and is Kurt Angle's opponent. I'm praying to God that that happens still, but I'm not holding my breath. So Kurt Angle comes out, you know, they shows the video package, and of course Baron Corbin comes out and interrupts, talks about how Kurt Angle's washed up and why he can't do it like he used to, and he's not lying. But hearing it come from Baron Corbin is just absolutely nauseating, and it's just unnecessary. I mean, seriously, I can't even express to you how much it just pisses me off. It really does. So Kurt Angle says, well, we're having a match at Mania, but why don't we have an exhibition match tonight? And I'm thinking, why? So Baron Corbin pretends he's coming down to the ring, gets on the apron, looks like he's going to get in the ring, and then he doesn't. And then Renee Young makes probably her most relevant comment ever on commentary and calls Baron Corbin a scumbag. I laughed. So props to you, Renee Young, for finally saying something of relevance on your tenure so far on the Raw commentary team. This is then interrupted by Rey Mysterio. Mysterio comes out, says someone has to teach Baron Corbin some respect. Baron Corbin then punches Mysterio. Kurt Angle starts beating up Baron Corbin, goes for a German. Corbin counters it. Then Rey Mysterio does the springboard thing where he sits down on him, and then Angle hits him with an angle slam. And that's the end of that segment. We've seen all we need to see now between Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle. We've seen the match, I think, twice already, and now we've seen another segment where Angle hits an angle slam on him. So I don't know why we need to see this at WrestleMania. What else could they show us? I'm over it. Anyway, moving on. We get Charlotte in the backstage interview. And I know that she's slated for the 6-woman tag match tonight, but I don't understand why she's on Raw. She's technically still a SmackDown superstar. Just because she's in a match with Ronda Rousey, I don't know how that just gives her free roam to go on whatever show she wants. She's not a Raw superstar. Neither is Becky Lynch, by the way. So yeah, it just goes to show you how depleted the women's roster is when they don't... SmackDown nor Raw has a proper women's feud with anything going on. They had to mix the shows up because that's how fucking lame the rosters are. But yet they possibly don't want to unify the women's singles title. I don't understand it. It is what it is. She has a backstage segment. Nobody cares. We got to get a pointless 6-woman tag match that literally, we're about to get into it soon, that literally does nothing for anybody and just buries the Riot Squad further than they already are, to the point where you must just give them a fucking name marker, cover it up real nice. Thank you. Come again. AEW's calling. Ruby Riot. Next, we got Ricochet. Finally, someone that I'm interested in. He's making his entrance, and they add this new thing to his entrance where he takes off his hood, and there's some sound effect over the PA system, kind of like when AJ Styles is coming out, and they have like the fucking sound effect where his fireworks used to be. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain too much about it, but it's pretty unnecessary. I think his entrance was already pretty cool as it was, but this doesn't really add anything to it. But thankfully, it doesn't really take away from his entrance. I just think it's a little unnecessary, but it is what it is. He's teaming with Aleister Black, of course, who also, I've seen, has a new sound effect added to his entrance. So when he's coming out and he's rising up on that little platform thing that, you know, stands him upright, there's like this added effect of like gears, you know, picking him up, or I don't know if that's just the sound of the thing rising him up, but I never noticed that in NXT, and I didn't notice it his first couple weeks on the main roster. Like, he always would rise up and you would never hear anything, so they definitely either buffed the sound of it or just added in sound effects. Again, I'm not really going to complain about it. It doesn't take away from his entrance. So, I don't think it's really necessary, but thankfully it doesn't make the entrance stupid or anything, so I'll ignore it for now. But like I said, not needed. Revival, even though they're defending the tag team titles right now against Black and Ricochet, they get a jobber entrance as usual, so they come out during the commercial break. Nice touch there, Vince and Beaver Boy. And yes, I know that that's a JD thing, the Beaver, but it's too funny not to use, and I try not to use it too much because it is his thing. But also, I'll like to shout out Mr. JD from New York, because honestly, I probably wouldn't be even doing this if it wasn't for him. Watching him over the years has just kind of inspired me to kind of take a chance and see where I go on YouTube, whether I do this or I do something else on here. But yeah, man, watching him over the years and watching where he started and where he is now, man, it is inspiring. And I was like, I might as well take a shot at it, because honestly, everything he's been talking about over the years is exactly what I've been feeling. I just never put it to paper and expressed it somewhere. So here I am now expressing how I feel, and it's going to be a very similar perspective that he has. But like I said, I'm going to shout him out because he's a great dude, and yeah, he's pretty much what inspired me to be on here, and he's great at what he does, and I can only hope to achieve what he's achieved in analyzing pro wrestling. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, we have the same thoughts. I just hope that I can achieve one day maybe the goals of what he's achieved, but we're going to move on here. But again, thanks JD for the inspiration. You're a good dude. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let the haters slow you down. Anyway, but getting back to this match, we got a pretty decent match. Ricochet eventually gets a hot tag in this. He gets a bunch of close 2 counts with roll-ups that I thought were actually going to win the match at one point. One of them I thought was definitely going to win it, but it wasn't to be. They then brawl to the outside. Dawson hits a beautiful, or they didn't hit to before they went to the outside. Dawson hits a beautiful gory special after Wilder cheap shot at Ricochet. He gets a close 2 count. I thought it might have been over right there, but Ricochet and Black losing clean to a pinfall or submission, I don't think would have been the right. I don't think it would have been the right idea for any of these teams to lose clean with a pinfall or submission. So then anyway, they brawl to the outside. Dawson then hits a gorgeous looking tornado DDT on the outside of Aleister Black, and then Ricochet comes out of nowhere, flies over the ring post, and does a plancha, taking out Dawson and Wilder. He almost fucking landed in the crowd. That's how far he flew. Ricochet then tries to beat the 10 count because he's on the outside. I think Dawson was the legal man, or maybe it was Wilder. I don't remember. Whoever it was, they made it into the ring, and Ricochet's trying to make it into the ring. He gets up to a count of 8.5. He's about to climb in the ring, and I believe it was Dawson on the outside, actually, that was grabbing his foot, preventing him from getting back in the ring, and Ricochet gets counted out. And this was a pretty good match, and while I'm not all that excited about the finish as far as, going with how good the match was, it was the only finish that really made sense. Like I said, neither one of these teams needs to be losing. The Revival doesn't need to be losing the tag titles right now, especially since Ricochet and Aleister Black are challenging for the NXT tag titles at TakeOver. So that would be kind of silly. So I will accept this outcome because it was the only one that made any sense, really. So it is what it is. I'm just glad that they didn't take a pinfall or submission here. So there was really no other outcome for this. There was no other outcome for this match. This was it, and they did a good job with it. And then Ricochet and Black do get the last laugh because they attacked the Revival after the match. They did their finishers, and that was it. And then, as this is happening and Black and Ricochet are leaving, we get a announcement that Mysterio vs. Corbin is happening tonight. I don't know who wanted this match, but it's what we're going to get. Moving on, we get Ronda backstage. She's being interviewed, says that she's not in the mood to talk, and she's just here to fight. And she plans on destroying the Riot Squad by herself as Becky and Charlotte watch. And if Becky and Charlotte get in her way, then their Judgment Day won't be at Mania. It'll be tonight. For some reason, we come back from a commercial break, and we get a recap of what happened last week with Braun Strowman and those 2 goons. And like I said, I'm not going to go over this segment because these guys are unfunny. They're boring. This whole thing is awful. They're bad actors. The only part I'll mention is, for some reason, we had Alexa Bliss backstage talking to Tyler Breeze, of all people, who's also standing next to EC3, who's just standing there. And then he just starts laughing, and he finally speaks his first words, and he's talking about Saturday Night Live. So congratulations EC3, you finally made it in the big league. I'm not going to go over any more that happened here. I really don't care. I'm not even going to go over the whole Strowman match that happened with these 2 jabronis he saw backstage, because it's just a waste of time, and I'm already 39 minutes in, and we still got a lot to talk about. Roman Reigns is being interviewed backstage. A lot of backstage interviews tonight, just like every fucking week on Raw. Same formulaic bullshit. Luckily, he's quickly interrupted by McIntyre, who puts a beating down on him. And then he starts screaming at him that he wants Roman to see his face at night when he goes to sleep. I love Drew's intensity. I think he's great. He just brings it every week for the most part, unless he's teaming up with Lashley and Corbin, which thank God is over. But I guess we could probably say goodbye to McIntyre's momentum once WrestleMania happens, because I don't see him defeating Roman Reigns, even though it makes sense. I don't want to see Roman Reigns just start skyrocketing back to the main event. Please let this guy just slowly maybe build his way back up there. First of all, you don't know if what he had, his leukemia, is ever going to come back. So if you start pushing this guy to the moon again, and God forbid his leukemia comes back, then what? Then you got to derail his push again, and everybody that was sacrificed to push him again is going to be wasted for no reason. So please, do the right thing here and give Drew McIntyre the win at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns can lose 6 months straight, and it's still not going to hurt his character, just because he's fucking Roman Reigns. Drew McIntyre, though, on the other hand, he can't really afford to keep losing, because every time he starts building up a little bit, they push him right back down. He was building up not too long ago with the whole getting rid of Ziggler thing, and then they pushed him right back down by teaming him up with Bobby Trashley and Baron Boring. So, please, for the love of God, give Drew McIntyre what he needs, and that's a win over Roman Reigns, so he can be credible to challenge Seth Rollins or Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. Because Drew McIntyre will most likely be a champion this year, and I don't know if that's going to happen if he starts losing to Roman Reigns starting at WrestleMania. So, let's do the right thing here, WWE. Let's give Drew McIntyre the win. And let's move Roman Reigns on to someone else. Please. Roman Reigns can lose one feud in his fucking career. Okay? Cool. Anyway. Next up we get probably the most overdone 20 plus or 30 minutes or however long this fucking segment lasted between the match and the whole fucking shenanigans that was going on here. We get the 6-woman tag team match with Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Ronda versus the Riot Squad. Becky's in gorilla position. She's being interviewed by Caruso, and again, another backstage fucking promo. Same boring shit. It's always in the same place. It's either in some random backstage area that looks exactly like it does in every arena, or it's in gorilla position. So, that's the only thing I liked about Elias's part, was the fact that it wasn't backstage. It was like out on the streets. So I'll give him props for that. Anyway, she's being interviewed, says Ronda is most beatable when she feels untouchable. And she's the one that basically made Ronda feel untouchable by invoking her God mode or whatever the fuck she said. I don't know what the hell she was saying. Says she will take home all the gold at WrestleMania. And that's really all the fans want to see. Nobody wants to see Becky not win this match, except for maybe a few goons out there who don't understand that Becky needs this win more than Charlotte or Ronda. I mean, all signs point to Ronda kind of leaving a little bit after WrestleMania, and Charlotte has enough fucking notches on her belt as far as her career with her 8 title wins already. So, seriously, enough with the whole Charlotte and Ronda thing. Let's give Becky something to fucking smile about. So, we get this match. Let's see here. Where did I leave off? I'm fucking lost in my notes here. And also, I'm still not 100% sure that Becky Lynch is going to win this match, just because Charlotte's in it. And I still wouldn't be surprised if they do give Ronda Rousey the win and pull a Brock Lesnar last year with Roman Reigns, where Roman Reigns was supposed to win, but then last minute they hot-shotted it and gave it back to Brock Lesnar. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get the result we want, but I'm not 100% certain that that's what's going to happen. One idea I did have in my head was if each woman had their own like person in their corner. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but it came into my head where you can have Ronda Rousey, even though she's being played out by Joan Jett, so even if you can't get the person I'm about to mention to come out with her, at least she has her own musical performance for her entrance. But maybe have her come out with Conor McGregor. Somebody said he was rumored to be at WrestleMania. I don't know how true it is, but it would be cool to see him come out, be in Ronda's corner. Then obviously you would have Ric Flair be in Charlotte's corner, even though Ric Flair took a beating. But that was a couple weeks ago, so I'm pretty sure he's over it now, the beating he took from Batista. And then Becky Lynch's music can hit, and then she doesn't come out, and everybody's like, where the fuck is Becky? And then you can have the glass shatter, and her and Stone Cold come out together. Since they're pretty much making her the female Stone Cold anyway, you know, you might as well just drive it all the way home. The only problem I might have with this idea of mine is if it's going to take away from Becky Lynch in her moment, because Stone Cold's there. But at the same time, I mean, compared to what we're going to get in about fucking 10 minutes after she had this interview, my idea doesn't sound so bad. And I think it would make for a pretty awesome moment at WrestleMania. And I think the crowd would pop pretty fucking hard if Becky Lynch came out either with Stone Cold or maybe just with Austin's music. We'll see what happens. But it was just an idea I had in my head. Let me know what you guys think, if you agree with that, if you don't. But, you know, like I said, they don't even need Conor McGregor if they can't get him, if they went with an idea like this. Because, you know, like I said, Ronda Rousey has her own musical performance for her entrance with Joan Jett playing her out to the ring. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Ric Flair can be there. That's a no-brainer. Obviously, Stone Cold could probably be there. I'm pretty sure he can take one night off from whatever he's doing to show up at WrestleMania. We'll see what happens. It's probably not going to happen. It was just an idea I had in my head. But this is the main event, and it's a 7-hour show. So you might need something to perk the crowd back up by the time we get to the main event. 7 hours is a long fucking time. And I don't know how much energy the crowd's going to have when we get to the main event. I know personally I'm probably going to be drained by the time we get to the main event. Because I'm probably going to be drinking the whole damn time. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they do something. Anyway. This match was quick. Becky Lynch was, for some reason, on defense. Most of the time she was in the ring against the likes of Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Charlotte tags herself in, starts yelling at Becky. Then Ronda tags herself in while they're arguing. Comes in and basically just puts Liv Morgan instantly into an armbar, and she taps out in about 0.3 seconds. After Liv Morgan taps out, Ronda Rousey immediately starts attacking Charlotte, which then prompts Charlotte to start fighting back. Then Becky Lynch gets involved. Then referees start coming down, and then they have these awful looking cops come out. I mean, not one of these people looked like they were an actual cop. You're going to tell me they couldn't have gone to some local police station in the area and just maybe paid a couple of cops that were maybe off duty or even whatever just to show up, just so you can have it at least look somewhat legit for what they're trying to go with here? Because this whole segment was absolutely fucking ridiculous. They're fighting. Ronda Rousey pushes down a police officer, quotations, while she's trying to hit Becky Lynch, and because it was a cop or whatever, she's instantly handcuffed. I'm already shaking my head at this. So we got Ronda Rousey's handcuffed. Becky Lynch punches her in the face, takes a cheap shot while she's handcuffed, and this prompts Becky Lynch to get handcuffed. And then, of course, we're on the outside, and now Charlotte has to kick or punch fucking Ronda Rousey in the face, and now she's handcuffed. So now this is just getting absolutely ridiculous at this point. I'm just sitting here shaking my head, just watching this all unfold, and I'm just watching my interest for this match just deflate like a fucking hot air balloon after it comes down from a fucking couple hours up in the air. Just watching all the fucking excitement I had for this match just fall down to the ground. So we got all three women handcuffed. They keep fighting on the ramp. They're fighting on the side of the ramp. They're fighting up the ramp. They're fighting backstage. The fucking cops are terrible at holding these people. I mean, we're talking about these people are supposed to be cops, and they're struggling holding back three women, and there's like 10, 15 cops there with referees and everything, and they can't hold anybody back. I don't know who's believing this nonsense. This does not add anything to this fucking match. This whole segment is so absolutely ridiculously convoluted. If you were somebody who just turned on Raw because you were like, oh, it's the last Raw before WrestleMania, they're probably going to have a good show, and then you see this, you don't know what the fuck's going on. I mean, people can say like, oh, was it believable back in the day when Austin and McMahon were doing the whole cop thing? Yeah, it was believable because it looked real. Austin and McMahon sold the fuck out of it, and it felt natural. This doesn't feel natural. This was just ridiculous. Fucking, they're fighting backstage, and then Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch for some reason are put in the same cop car, and then they just look at each other, and then they start kicking each other in the back seat. Ronda Rousey kicks out the back window. Becky Lynch gets out. Then somehow It looked like one of the cops literally opened up the door for Charlotte so she can step out and kick Becky Lynch one more time while she's on the outside. While this is happening, somehow Ronda Rousey gets into the driver's seat of the other cop car, drives it into the other cop car, which did nothing, and then Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey are taken away while Charlotte's screaming, "Get off me!" by other cops. And this segment was the most overdone segment in the history of Monday Night Raw. Don't at me. Don't tell me any different. This segment was so overdone. I don't even have fucking words to describe what I just watched. I don't understand what I just watched. It was the most unnecessary thing I've ever seen. So absolutely stupid. This was not needed at all. It really, really wasn't. I really have no other words for it. And I'm running low. I only got 9 more minutes to explain the rest of this show, so we're going to move on, and I'm just going to end it with, that was the most overdone segment in Raw history. It was unnecessary, and it dwindled my interest in this match just a little bit. We didn't have Rude and Gable in the ring. They're taking on Heavy Machinery. Again, who cares? Heavy Machinery has barely been fucking featured on Monday Night Raw since they've been called up. So when they're on Raw, who's going to care? I don't even know if anybody realized that they were still on Raw. They probably thought they were put back in NXT, which, if I was them, I'd rather be in NXT than on this fucking horrendous show. In the middle of this match, Lacey Evans comes out, so Heavy Machinery finally gets a match on Raw, just for it to be interrupted by Lacey Evans, and I have no words for this still. I don't have any words for this entire show. Why was Lacey Evans out there? Why are we still doing this Lacey Evans interrupting shit? And then Rude and Gable get distracted, and then Gable gets hit with the whatever their tag move is called. I know I have it written here somewhere. What the fuck was it called? I have no idea. Who cares? Heavy Machinery hits their tag team finisher on Gable. And it's over, and it looked like Rude. I thought Rude was going to turn heel, and God, I hope he does soon. Because people like Rude and Gable don't need to be a tag team. They should be singles guys fighting for the IC belt. Could you imagine a heel Rude versus a babyface Finn Balor? Like a good babyface Finn Balor, like the one we had in NXT? That would be fantastic, but don't hold your breath for that one. But I do think a Bobby Roode heel turn is coming soon, but at this point, is anybody really going to care? Probably not. Next up is Bobby Trashley, and my urge to change the channel just overcame me that I did change the channel because The Kingsman was on, and that's a fucking great movie. If you've never seen it, go watch it. Unfortunately, that was on a commercial as well. So, just the land of commercials all over television. All these channels, nothing's ever on, and then when you find something, it's on a commercial. We get probably the most cringe demon segment I've ever seen. So we get Bobby Lashley, and he's told that, oh, I hear Balor's going to bring out the demon. He apparently doesn't care, but apparently the demon is worth bringing out for Bobby Lashley in an Intercontinental title match, but it wasn't worth bringing out for Brock Lesnar in a Universal title match. Sure thing, WWE. They then again tell us in this that WrestleMania is in the shadow of New York, and I'm just really losing my interest in this fucking entire fucking program. This show, Monday Night Raw, is so awful. So, Balor, anyway, I'm getting off topic again. Balor shows up on the Titantron, looking like normal Balor. Then all of a sudden he fades and says the demon's coming or some shit, and then he turns into the demon on the Titantron, and then he does this absolute cringe like growl or something, and he just goes like, and he sticks out his fucking tongue, and I got douche bumps. It's the opposite of goosebumps. It's when you get goosebumps, but instead of getting it for like something crazy happening, like a huge pop for like a return, or like, you know, Stone Cold winning the title at WrestleMania 14, or Shawn Michaels winning the Survivor Series 2002, it's the goosebumps you get when something cringe happens. It's called douche bumps. That's what I got when he did this cringe-like growl or whatever the fuck he did. I've never been more uninterested in the demon side of Finn Balor than I was today. Anyway, next, apparently this was the main event. Rey Mysterio versus Baron Corbin was the main event match for the go-home show for WrestleMania. I'll let that one sink in. if you're thinking WrestleMania and you're thinking the women's triple threat match, you got Rollins and Lesnar, you got all these other matches going on that are, well, I mean, not that they're anything really to fucking sneeze at. I mean, they're all pretty awful, actually. Except for maybe the triple threat match, but of all the things you have to close the show, on the road to WrestleMania, the very last Raw before WrestleMania, you put Mysterio versus Baron Corbin. The match that nobody asked for, but we all got. Wonderful. And I mean, I'm sure this is just happening because Kurt Angle is apparently, like I said, is hurt. And that's probably why, because he was rumored or scheduled to have a match against Mysterio, but that didn't happen, obviously. And I'm guessing it didn't happen because he's hurt. And that's probably why the AJ Styles match didn't happen. But really, I mean, Baron Corbin? I mean, I'd rather have seen a hurt Angle versus a Mysterio, because at least I still think Mysterio could have at least made the match somewhat decent. I mean, you know, I know it ain't going to be like their fucking classic match they had at SummerSlam 2002, which, by the way, was the best SummerSlam of all time, in my opinion. I mean, I can't think of a SummerSlam that was better than 2002. It's just, everything on that card was great. And the Kurt Angle Rey Mysterio match, which opened that show, I believe, was fucking phenomenal. If you've never seen Kurt Angle and Mysterio at SummerSlam 2002, I urge you to go back and watch it, because it was fucking fantastic. But anyway, like I said with Baron Corbin before, guy has a cool entrance, he has a cool theme song, and he has a good finisher, but none of it matches what he looks like. Coming out dressed up like a hostess for your local diner, and just looking ridiculous, and sounding ridiculous. I'm sorry, I can't get behind this guy. This guy's boring, and like I said, during this match, the crowd was chanting boring. I think it happened at least twice, if I'm not mistaken. And their reaction to this match is my reaction to this entire road to WrestleMania. Boring and unexciting. At least on Monday Night Raw's part. On SmackDown's part, yeah, it's been pretty decent. But on Monday Night Raw, absolutely horrendous. This is awful booking. Mysterio loses clean here. Not to an end of days, but to a deep 6. He loses to Baron Corbin to a deep 6. Clean. Yeah, he's looking real strong going into his U.S. title match against Samoa Joe, who is head and shoulders better than Baron Corbin. So, if I'm supposed to believe that Rey Mysterio can beat Samoa Joe at WrestleMania, but he can't beat Baron fucking Corbin on Monday Night Raw, you are sadly mistaken. I no longer take Mysterio as a threat in his match against Samoa Joe. I still think it'll be a good match, but I don't... If Mysterio wins, I'm just going to shake my head. I don't want him to win now, because he just lost to Baron Corbin. So, Baron Corbin walks up the stage. He gets attacked by Kurt Angle on the stage, puts him in the ankle lock. Baron Corbin is tapping out. And so now we've seen the Angle Slam and the ankle lock applied on Baron Corbin all tonight on Monday Night Raw. And they've already had 2 matches, I believe. So why do we need to see it at WrestleMania? If this doesn't point to John Cena coming out at WrestleMania, making a surprise appearance and having a match with Kurt Angle, then this company fucking blows. They already blow. They'll just blow even more. And that's pretty much how the show goes off the air. So, with that being said, and Monday Night Raw being over, and I got a minute and 40 seconds left, who's excited for WrestleMania? Nobody with a brain. That's who. Not me, not you, not anybody, and I'm going to be at this horrendous show. But, like I said, I'm just there for my friends and tailgating in the parking lot. And if you're going to be there and you want to tailgate with us, just let me know in the comment section. I'll let you know where we're going to be, and it'll be a good time. Anyway, I only have a minute left, so I'm going to end it here. This show was absolutely horrendous. It was terrible. It was boring. It did nothing to excite you for WrestleMania. And I just don't know, man. Worst build to WrestleMania I think I've ever seen. But that's Monday Night Raw for you. You know? They don't know any better. But I really have nothing else to say, man, and I'm going to end it here, and you know, I'll be back tomorrow for SmackDown Live, which I'm sure will be a much better show, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. And see where they go with this whole, their last show with the whole Kofi and Daniel Bryan thing, the Orton and AJ Styles. You know, we'll see what happens, but I'm getting out of here, guys. Hit that like button if you liked it. You know, it'll help me grow a little bit. Any little thing helps. You know, leave a comment. I'll comment back, and if you really liked it, hit that subscribe button, but I'm getting out of here. I'll see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live. Talk to you later.